choice but to believe. My doubts are burning.
Recording in progress.
Like ashes in the wind. So long to my old friends. Burden and bitterness. You can just keep it moving. Hey. No, you ain't welcome here. From now till I walk the streets of gold, I'll sing of how you saved my soul. This wayward son has found his way back home. Oh, he picked me up, turned me around, placed my feet on solid ground. I thank the Master, I thank the Savior, because he healed my heart, changed my name, forever free. I'm not the same. I thank the Master, I thank the Savior. Oh, I thank God. Lost another one, I am free. I am free. I am free. Lost another one, I am free. I am free. I am free. I am free. Lost another one, I am free. I am free. Yes, I am free. Lost another one, I am free. I am free. Lost another one, I am free. I am free. I am free. Lost another one, I am free.
Hi, I'm Stacy Lowe, and I'm the children's minister at Cypress Baptist Church in Benton, Louisiana, and I'm here to share with you some VBS hacks. Right now, we are going to talk about some hacks to use for recruiting. Hack number 1 is to be enthusiastic. Get excited about Bible school and share that vision with those around you. If you're not excited, no one will be. This is your opportunity to share the vision with others and invite them to come along with you in what's going on for Vacation Bible School. So VBS is coming up. Just think about it. It's a lot of kids who want to help. I mean, somebody's got to do it, and it's kind of crazy. So, and it might as well be you. Don't get back to me. It's fine. Hey, Vacation Bible School is coming up, and I would love for you to join our team. It is so much fun. Hack number 2 is to be specific. If you can provide job descriptions for the volunteers that you need, it will be so much easier to recruit volunteers. Instead of a blanket plea, if you can go directly to a person and tell them what you need them to do, they're much more likely to get involved. Don't do it like this. Bible school is sometime this summer. I'm not really sure when it is, between like bed babies to 6th grade. I need somebody. Hack number 3 is to be available. Whether you've got a veteran volunteer or a rookie, they want to know how to do better. And you can provide that with training or one-on-one meetings with your new volunteers. A well-trained volunteer is a confident teacher for Vacation Bible School. Don't do it like this. As long as your room looks awesome, they don't care what you teach. Oh, don't worry about it. You'll figure it all out. Just wing it. And hack number 4 is to be grateful. You need to let your volunteers know that you're thankful that they took time to serve this year. And you can do that in lots of ways. You can give gifts or just speak a word of encouragement to them. But a great way is to have an awesome teacher break room during the week. Hey, you made it to Friday, longer than I thought you would be here, and you didn't do nearly as bad as I thought you would. Hey! Thank you so much for helping this week. Your hard work has really paid off, and I know the kids had a great time, and they learned a lot about Jesus, and that's because of you. So there you have it, 4 hacks for recruiting volunteers. Be enthusiastic, be specific, be available, and be grateful. So until next time, may your relationships be as sweet as your snacks.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Thank God for each and every one of you being with us on today. I am super, super excited about you taking this Saturday morning to be with us. My name is Fred Taylor. I am proud to be able to serve you, and I'm really, really happy that you have registered to be a part of this and very important webinar, taking Vacation Bible School up. Taking Vacation Bible School up. We are definitely have so much responsibility as it relates to ministry and what the Lord would want us to do. And so, in order to do that, we want to perfect our craft. We want to be able to take whatever is entrusted to us and do more. Greater works is what we want to be able to do. And the power has been given to us. So it's up to us to unleash that power to be able to make the kind of impact that our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is calling forth out of our lives. And so, again, thank you for joining us on this beautiful Saturday morning. Welcome to each and every one of you. I want to take this opportunity to be able to introduce to our Congress Miss Stacy Lowe. Miss Stacy Lowe is currently serving at Cypress Baptist Church in Benton, Louisiana. That's north of where I live, quite high up there in the state of Louisiana, as she's serving as a creative team associate. Cypress was established in 1977 and has grown to be one of the largest Baptist churches in the state of Louisiana. For about 12 years, Stacy has filled the role of children's ministry, a minister at Cypress, and led the ministry to a significant growth during that time. In 2021, she moved to a part-time position at Cypress to have more time at home with her children. Stacy is fortunate to be married, and they have she and her husband have two beautiful children. Um, before joining the staff at Cypress, she served as a North American Mission Board missionary in New Orleans, Louisiana. She loves recruiting, volunteering, and managing large events, and she lives in that area of North Louisiana and serves with her husband of 11 years and their two children there at Cypress. And her husband, Brian, is also on staff there as a recreation pastor. Again, the Church of Christ Holiness National Sunday School HYM Congress is very, very, very honored to have Stacy with us on this morning. I ask that you prepare your hearts to hear, get your paper and pencil out. This webinar is being recorded so that you can go back and review it, but be sure to take notes. You'll be able to go to the website, Congress website, to be able to get this webinar later on and to be able to share it with others in the future. I do want to also encourage you to put your questions in the chat so that at the end we'll have some Q&A and you'll be able to share, be able to ask questions and hear Stacy share those responses with each and every one of us. All right. Again, I'm looking forward to hearing what the Lord has to say through Stacy. And at this time, I yield this time to our presenter on this morning, Miss Stacy Lowe. God bless you.
Well, good morning. I am so excited to be here with you guys. Brother Fred, I am clicking start video and it is telling me that it can't because the host has stopped it. So I don't know if there's a button on your end where I can open my camera because I want to be able to see
And
everybody.
it is. I need to share with you.
Okay.
There you go.
Listen, when we live by technology, we die by it, okay? It is great. Just let me know what I need to do. I'm so glad to be here today. Like he said, I've served at Cypress for the majority of my my time as full-time ministry. This is my home church. This is where I grew up. This is my hometown. My parents joined Cypress when they were first married. And so this is the only church that I know. So I am just so honored to be able to serve here. I have led VBSs in multiple places across the country, in Seattle, in Atlanta, in New Orleans, and here. And so I've seen it done lots of different ways in lots of different communities. And so I know that at the root of it, the goal of VBS is just to share Jesus. That's what we want to do. We want to tell people about Jesus and lead them to a closer relationship with him and just expand the kingdom. I know that that's the goal that we all have as we are serving in VBS this coming summer. So a couple things that we're going to do today is just talk about some 3 important keys to a great VBS. And I don't know about you. I love when a sermon has 3 points and they all start with the same letter. It helps me remember things. So, I'm a Baptist girl from way back. So so today we're going to talk about how to prepare and how to promote and then how to pursue. So as we are preparing for VBS, we're just going to start off thinking about, why are you doing this event? Why are you doing it? For some of you, it might be because the pastor told you to, and you're like, okay, I'm going to do it because he said so. Or you might be doing it because you've always done it. You've always been the director of VBS, and that's the only, that's the way that you serve your church. And so I hope that this morning maybe we can remember that passion and remember why we're serving in VBS. So I want to share a little bit with you guys from a book, and it's called It's Worth It. And this book is put out by Lifeway Publishing. If you're not familiar with that particular publishing group, they are associated with the Southern Baptist Convention. They produce a lot of Sunday school curriculum, and they also have a great VBS curriculum if you have not already chosen one. But so I just want to go through a little bit of this, a little bit of history of VBS, but then also some statistics that will hopefully get you excited about doing VBS this summer. So I don't know about you. You are probably part of this 60% of adults who have attended a VBS as a child. And I love these statistics here that 9 out of 10 of those people had a positive memory of VBS, and 8 out of 10 said that it was a childhood highlight. So that is a great statistic, right? That 60% of American adults have attended a vacation Bible school. Guess who brings children to VBS? Adults. So we're hoping that these adults who had a positive experience with a VBS as a child will in turn are going to bring their children. So you probably had a great VBS experience as a kid. That's why you're committed and willing to do it now and serve at your church. This is a very exciting statistic to me. 69% of American parents will encourage their child to participate in a VBS event at a church they don't attend if invited by one of their friends. Now, I want you to see how that's worded. It doesn't just say that they will allow their child to go. It says encourage. That is a different sort of feel there. That is an overwhelming majority of parents that will encourage their child to go to a church they do not attend just because they were invited by somebody else. So it works. VBS works. If you have this, parents are willing to allow their kid to go and attend this event. So don't get bogged down. You can do it. It's worth it. Parents are going to let their kids come. Now, this statistic is a little more heartbreaking, but this is how we know that we are in a crisis of evangelism. Now, this part of the study, these are people they've talked to who are professing Christians. They are committed church members. They are active in their congregations. And listen to this, 80% of those attending church 1 or more times a month believe that they have a personal responsibility to share their faith.
That sounds great, right? We have a personal responsibility to share our faith. But then you look at the other side in these statistics, are we even doing it? 48% of people said that they did not invite one person to attend church or a program at their church. 48% of committed Christians, active church members, said that 0 times in the past 6 months that they had invited anybody to church. Then 61% of that same group of people had not shared the gospel with anybody. 0 times in 6 months that they had shared the gospel with anybody. So we see this tension here where people know that they have a responsibility to share their faith, but the actions are not coming behind it. So we see that we have this crisis of evangelism, and this is across multiple denominations. This is across America. This is the crisis that we're seeing. But we also see a crisis of loneliness. This generation that is coming up, it's all digital, right? They've never known a world without the internet. They've never known a world without smartphones. Their identity is wrapped up in their social media engagement. They're spending a lot of time watching Netflix and YouTube versus actually having real interactions and real relationships with people. And look, I know that firsthand. It's a battle we fight in my own home. I have a second grader and a kindergartner. It's a battle I fight with myself. Listen, I love to watch Netflix. I'm on my phone all the time. I am so here for all the funny TikTok videos. Okay. I'm fighting my own battle of isolation when I get on that phone, or when I get home and I'm just able to just binge watch Netflix. Like, I'm battling that myself as a grown adult. How are these children battling that? They don't even know how to manage that. So we are definitely in a crisis of evangelism and a crisis of loneliness. But we have the answer, right? We have the answer to all of it. And Jesus said it himself. The harvest is abundant, but the workers are few. Therefore, pray to the Lord of the harvest to send out workers into his harvest. Now, listen, if you have ever led VBS before, been the director before, you know the workers are few, right? It seems like there's so much to do and very few people that are there to do it. But listen, this is a problem that's been around since the days of Jesus. That's why he says this. Listen, there are so many people out there that need a touch. They need to hear about Jesus. They need to know that he is there for them and that he loves them. And so let's pray and let's ask God to bring us the workers that we need so that we can have an amazing harvest and see souls reached. I'm just so thankful for this fact. Because of Jesus, you and I do not ever, ever, ever have to be alone. Okay, now this lady right here, Miss Virginia Hawes. Now I'm going to pull my notes out because I want to make sure that I give you guys all her correct quotes and some of the dates of this. This is the lady that we sort of attribute the beginning of VBS to. It was sort of her idea. And this was in 1898. Okay, she noticed that in New York City's East Side, that when school let out for the summer, that just the streets were swarmed with, quote, idle and sometimes unruly children, end quote. Okay, so basically, look, these kids are bad. They're running the streets. We got to do something about it. What can we do now that school is out? And so this is what she decided. We felt like the Bible was not taught in homes as it used to be, or as it should be, and it's not taught in the public schools. So we opened a school, which we made the Bible our only textbook. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty similar to my community. We don't feel like the Bible is taught as much as it could be in homes. It's certainly not taught in the public school system. And so where does that leave us at the church? What is our responsibility to share scripture in our community, and how can we do that? And so like I said, in 1898, she had what we would say was the first VBS in a beer parlor. She had it in a bar because that's what was available during the day. And so talk about being a good steward. You just use your resources. I always laugh because I'm like, she must have known the owner pretty well, but you know what? Look, you use those relationships and you do what you can so that you can evangelize and tell people about Jesus. By 1934, approximately 700 Bible schools reached as many as 100,000 children. And those numbers have continued to grow through world wars, through the Great Depression, through a tumultuous culture in the 60s and 70s. Like, VBS has continued to grow. The ministry of VBS is still relevant today. It is still something that is important. And the reasons that it was started all those years ago are the same reasons that we have today. And there's really two goals with VBS, and that's evangelism and discipleship. And I feel like evangelism is the priority, with discipleship coming in as a close second. So here are some statistics for VBS. This was from 2017. These were churches who reported to Lifeway. Now, while these are mostly probably Southern Baptist churches, it's not only Southern Baptist churches. Lots of different denominations use Lifeway curriculum and report their numbers back to them. So this is just 1 year. This is a little snapshot, 2017. Over 21,000 churches reported that they actually held a VBS. That is a lot. Almost 2.5 million people enrolled in VBS. That means enrolled just means that they came at least one day. So whether it was a 3-day VBS, a 5-day VBS, however you do it, at least if they came one time, then that's where that number comes from. Over $7 million given to missions during VBS. I don't know how you do your VBS. We love to have a missions offering. It's an exciting thing that we can add, and it really allows the children to give back to their communities. But $7 million, that's amazing. Over 65,000 salvation decisions from VBS in 1 year across America. That's amazing to me. 835 decisions made for vocational ministry. Now, people forget that, but this is an opportunity for children to hear about missionaries, to hear about full-time pastors, and the Lord will call people at a young age. He'll put that anointing on them very young, and we have an opportunity to tell them that God can use them in a full-time way, and they might surrender to ministry during Vacation Bible School. And then over 160,000 prospects discovered. Prospects just means people who do not attend a church and who need a church home. So that is a lot of people who are in communities who have zero connection with a church, and now they've been discovered by churches so that they can get plugged in and begin to have a church home. These numbers are people, and that's what we want to remember, is that when we count all of this up, it's not to brag, it's not to puff ourselves up, but it's to remember that each number represents a person whose life is forever changed because of the gospel. So there's some myths we're going to bust really quickly, that people just use VBS for free childcare, and that's a bad thing. Guess what? That's a good thing. Come on, bring them. That's okay. It's okay. We don't need to be bitter because people are using it for free childcare. But if you'll look at these statistics, that's actually the smallest percentage of why people send their kid to VBS. Yes, it might provide a free or inexpensive childcare during the day for a week or during the evening for a week. But you know what? If that's what it takes, drop them off. I'm going to tell them about Jesus while they're here. It doesn't bother me one bit. But listen, parents do see, they're listening to their kids. If the theme looks exciting, it sounds like something fun they want to do, their kids are going to bug them about it. They're going to bring them. And as a parent, a lot of parents, even if they're not actively involved in a church, they'll say, well, I know the church is going to teach them good things. The church has good things for them. People know that they can learn how to be moral people from the church. Now, we know that morality comes from a relationship with Jesus. But to the lost world, most of them will trust a church, especially here in the Bible Belt, will trust a church to teach their child good things. So let's take advantage of that. Let's open it up to the community. Let them drop them off here, and we're going to tell them about Jesus while they're here. This is another myth. We don't have enough workers. No one volunteers. Now you might say, Stacy, that is not a myth. That is the reality that I face every year. Nobody will help me. I cannot get enough volunteers. Listen, the volunteers are there They're in your church. We just have to help them find their sweet spot. We have to be specific with them. We have to encourage them. We have to also share the vision of VBS, that this is not just a children's ministry event. VBS is it's the most evangelistic event that your church is going to do this year. I promise you. It's as a revival essentially, and you need volunteers from teenagers to parents to empty nesters to senior adults. This is a multi-generational event for your church. You're never too old for VBS. That's what I say. There is a place for everybody to be able to serve. And so the workers are out there. We just have to find them and give them their job. Let them know how they can serve. When we do blanket all calls for people, everybody's like, oh, somebody else will do it, or they're looking over there. And so and we'll go over that a little bit, some strategies of what you can do for volunteers. I always joke about, our pastor always says, God's got plenty of money. It's just in your pockets. That's what he tells our congregation. So listen, you have plenty of VBS volunteers. They're just hiding somewhere. They're coming in early and drinking coffee, and they're saying, I did my time. My kids are grown now, or, I'm only 16. How could I serve at VBS? We can get them plugged in and get them involved. Okay. So you have enough volunteers. We just got to find them and get them plugged in. The third myth is that everybody in town is doing VBS. What could we possibly do that is any different than anyone else? Or if you do choose to purchase a curriculum, you might say, well, the church down the street is doing the same thing. It's not going to work for us. Listen, let me tell you, our church, Cypress Baptist, literally across the street from us is a large Catholic church. Next door to us is a thriving Methodist church. So literally on one block, we have 3 healthy, vibrant, growing congregations that all do children's ministry in the summer. We all have very similar programs. And when I tell you, like, we schedule with each other so that it's not the same week, but if we happen to use the same curriculum, it doesn't matter. The kids love it. They come anyways. My own children will come to the VBS that we have at our church. Then they'll go to their grandparents' church, and it might be the same songs, the same Bible stories, the same crafts. They love it. They love getting to go in and say, oh, I already know these songs. I learned them last week. Or I know how that Bible story goes. I know what happens. They love it. It does not bore them. Repetition is good for children. So even if there are multiple churches in your community that have a VBS, and you guys happen to use the same curriculum, or you happen to have the same Bible stories, guess what? The gospel is the same. It doesn't change. The repetition is good for children. It's good for our communities. So don't worry about that. You choose what's best for your church and your congregation. And don't worry that it's going to detract or that people won't come because someone else already did it. No, the Bible, guess what? It ain't changing, and neither does Jesus. So some of that might be repeated, and that's a good thing. VBS is too expensive. We have to buy too much stuff. Listen, I have done VBS or Backyard Bible Club or sports camp, whatever you might call it, in your community. I've done it with $0 and I've done it with $20,000. Like, it's that you can do it anywhere in between. Do not let a budget hold you back from what God has. He can do it with a little bit. I mean, loaves and fishes, right? I mean, he can make anything happen from something small. But also, we can be really good stewards, and we might have really good gifts, and we might have small businesses that want to help. We might have big church budgets that can allow us to do this. This is like I said, it's the most evangelistic event that your church might do this year. It's important to invest in it. But look, you just have to sit down and decide what's most important. What can we get donated? What can we make ourselves? And what do we have to buy? It's going to cost a little bit, but it doesn't have to cost much. Really what it's going to cost is your heart and your passion and your desire. So don't let the price tag of VBS make you nervous. You can have a great VBS on a shoestring budget, I promise. The only kids that are going to come are the ones that are at our church. That might be the majority of the kids that come, but it's not the only kids that come. And also, those kids in your church, they need to hear about Jesus too. They need to have an opportunity to have something that's tailored just for them. So maybe you might, this statistic says 49% attend the VBS at their own church. But look, we have 29% from other churches. We have 22% that don't attend church at all. So yes, you're going to have a mix of kids. You're going to have kids from your own church, but then you're also going to have kids from the community. So don't let that weigh you down and say, well, gosh, I mean, we have church every week. What's the difference? You know, they're already hearing it. They're already learning about it. Hey, listen, this is the opportunity where they get to have something tailored for them, where they can invite their friends, and they are bringing kids from the community. So it's not just your church kids that are coming. Myth number 6, all our kids are already Christians. VBS is not about discipleship. Well, listen, if you have done children's ministry for about 30 seconds, you know some of them kids are lost, okay? They are bad. They are not saved, okay? So we definitely want to continue to evangelize within our church. But VBS is absolutely about discipleship. You're going to have kids, just because my second grader made a profession of faith earlier this year. We don't stop coming to church because he's saved. He's not going to stop going to Bible school because he's saved. No, these are opportunities for him to learn how to share his faith. These are opportunities for him to grow deeper in his knowledge and relationship with Jesus. And so, yes, VBS is absolutely a discipleship tool as well. So, and that's what's amazing about it, is that it's evangelistic and you can use it as a discipleship tool. So let's just remember that it's both, and it doesn't have to just be one or the other. So that can help motivate us and get us excited, even if the majority of our kids, maybe we have an invitation and we only have 2 kids come forward to get saved, and we have all these 25 other that, you know, have already made professions. That is okay. That is a good thing. They have learned about the Bible. They have gotten to worship together. They've learned how to share their faith with other people. So let's not get so bogged down or disappointed if we don't have a huge percentage of salvations. It's also a discipleship tool. Now this number right here, this is if you do a 5-day, 3-hour VBS, but potentially you could do 7 months of ministry in 1 week. That is intense. That's exciting to think about, though. This is the most unique opportunity that your church has. Now, you guys are you know that VBS is worth it. That's why you're here today. That's why you're participating in this. But I hope that when you see these numbers, that it gets you excited and it reminds you that there is purpose and there is value in what you're doing, bigger than just, oh, well, we've done it this way every year, or, you know, I got roped into it, or the pastor asked me to do it. Or I hope that you have a vibrant passion for evangelism in your community, especially to children. Statistics have shown this for years and years and years, that children are more likely to give their life to Christ when they're younger than 12 than as they get older. I mean, childlike faith is in scripture. There is a reason. And the gospel is not different for children. It's not the kids' version of the gospel. The gospel is the gospel, but we are so much more open to it as children. And God made us that way. So it's so important that we take the opportunity to share the gospel with children. And VBS is the way that we do that. So VBS is the 1 week, and it mobilizes your entire church to reach the community with the gospel, while simultaneously providing a unique discipleship experience for the individual child and the volunteer. There's no other program like it. So it is absolutely worth it. Okay, VBS is worth it. Now you might be saying, well, I wish you had my pastor in here for this, because, you know, I don't feel like I have a lot of support from my church leadership, you know, and that is so tough when you feel like you're leading that charge and you don't feel like you have people, supporting you. Listen, you need to get an opportunity to either stand in front of your church, or meet with your pastor or your elders or your deacon board, or however your church leadership is structured, where you can share some of this and share your vision. Because if you get to share the why, then the volunteers are going to come, the supplies are going to come, the children are going to come. God is going to send them if you know your passion and your why. So I know that some of this, it might not be super practical, but if we don't have this foundation laid, then all the rest of these things that we try to do to make VBS work, that's just going to be us spinning our wheels. Like, we want to find where God is working and join him. I don't want to get ahead of God. I don't want to try to make God fit into my vision and my idea. No, where is God already at work? Okay, I want to join him. Guess what? God is working through VBS all over the country, all over the world. So we're going to continue in this ministry and join God in what he's doing so that we can share Jesus with the next generation. So I hope that those few statistics, I hope they weren't super boring. I hope it gets you excited about all that God has. Now that you know your why, okay, now we need to know the when. Okay, when is this event? You have got to get your VBS dates nailed down. And you might say, well, that seems like a duh thing. Well, listen, it's important, because if you want to recruit families and invite volunteers and make that happen, they have to know when it is. But also, it's not just the physical date. When does it happen on the calendar? You need to think about what is going to work for your church for VBS. Is it a daytime VBS or is it a nighttime VBS? That can certainly affect your volunteer enlistment. We are so blessed at our church. We've been able to continue to have a daytime VBS. We have so many school teachers that serve. We have a couple people that take their vacation every year to come work VBS. Like, that is committed, right? And so we are able to still have a daytime VBS, but most churches in our area have moved to an evening VBS, and that has opened up lots of doors for volunteers to get to come when you have it at night. You need to decide what fits for your church. Is it a 3-day VBS? Is it a 5-day VBS? Is it a mixture? Is it, hey, we start Friday night, we have 2 sessions on Saturday, a morning and an afternoon. We invite you to come to church on Sunday, and then we wrap it up on Sunday night. Maybe it happens over a weekend. VBS is flexible. It's not a cookie cutter mentality. This is what's going to work for your church, for your community. Also, what are you going to call it? You know, for us in this webinar, we know what VBS is. I don't even have to tell you what those letters stand for. VBS makes perfect sense to us. But if you didn't grow up in church, what is VBS? What does that mean? Okay, Vacation Bible School. Well, listen, my 8-year-old, if I say Vacation Bible School, he hears the word school and he's checked out. He's like, no, I'm out of school, right? Why? I don't want to go to school. What are you talking about? So you might need to phrase it a little bit differently. You might need to name it something differently depending on your community. Now, if your VBS is blowing and going and people love it, they know it as VBS and the people are coming, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that is great if it's working in your community. We have renamed it at our church. We call it Super Summer. The first couple years that we did that, we kind of gave it a tag where it was like Super Summer, a VBS experience, because we needed to change the culture of that so that within our church people knew, oh, Super Summer it's VBS. Okay. But then we were able to promote it in our community as something that was new and different and exciting for kids to get to come to. And they didn't really know what to expect of the community. And so that has worked for us, sort of changing that name. It's helped us. So when you think about when you're going to have it, look at your community calendar. Like, if you have some big festival in your community, maybe don't plan it the same week. A lot of your congregants are probably going to go to that, whatever that is. I would avoid a holiday, maybe don't have it the week of July 4th. That might be kind of tough, like you have to look at those things and see how it's going to fit in. If your church does a camp, a youth camp, don't plan it the same week. You need those teenagers. You need them to serve for VBS. So work together with your student ministry to make sure that you can plan VBS at a time that is best for your whole church and your community. As you're preparing, you got to think about what curriculum you're going to use. Now, a lot of times that's the last thing that people pick, right? They pick their date, They recruit all the volunteers, and then at the last minute, they're like, oh yeah, here's the Bible story for today. Listen, curriculum is very important. Now, you can save a lot of money by doing your own curriculum. There's lots of free children's ministry curriculum out there that you can use. But listen, just because it says VBS on it does not mean that it's going to fit your church and your church's vision or your church's beliefs. Like I said, I come from the Southern Baptist denomination, and so we always trusted Lifeway. We knew that Lifeway was going to have great material for us. I love the Lifeway material because it highlights evangelism and it highlights missions like no other curriculum that's out there. And so that I'll always start there, but you can always modify it. You know, the Lifeway curriculum is written for 5 days. Maybe you're only going to do 3 days or 4 days. You can pick and choose, you know, how you want to do it. But there are lots of great publishers out there. Orange is a great publisher. Group, Cokesbury, Answers in Genesis, Children's Ministry Deals. And even if you write your own, if you say, hey, these are the 4 Bible stories that I want to focus on, and then from there, build out your theme. A theme is important because when you decorate or you promote, when those kids walk in and they see that a room is sort of like decorated out, they know that you were prepared for them. You wanted them to come. You're excited that they're there. And for your church kids, it looks different than the regular Sunday, you know, meetings that you have. And so while the decorations are low on the totem pole as far as how you do VBS, it does matter and it is important. And it helps get we'll talk about that for volunteers too, that it is a great way for volunteers to get involved. So just as you're preparing, just one more time, why are you doing it? When is it? What are you going to call it? And what curriculum are you going to use? You have to have those things nailed down before you can even begin to really promote and recruit volunteers. So the next thing, as you're promoting your VBS, okay, you've got to figure out, you got to know who your audience is, okay, when you're promoting. You got to have 2 different strategies because you're recruiting 2 different people. You're trying to promote your VBS within your church, right? That's people that are already committed, kids in your church. How are you going to promote it to them? But then you also need to promote outside the church to your community. But you're going to do that 2 different ways. So you got to figure out what's best for your church. So for outside the church, it might be as simple as, yard signs or door hangers, or listen, you can go all out. You can have a block party, okay? And you can invite people, and everybody that's there, that's when they register. That's how they sign up for VBS, and you're handing out, cards or free things, or get everybody to register. And we're going to give away, a $25 gift card if you register for VBS today, and you get all of that information and, build those relationships then. And you can do that months out, to prepare your community and let them know, hey, we've got this event coming up for your children, and we want you to come. And so listen, also Facebook is a great way to promote. You can run sponsored ads on Facebook, and it is the cheapest form of advertising that there is. I mean, you get the biggest bang for your buck when you're able to do sponsored ads through Facebook and Instagram. And it works. I mean, y'all scroll through, you see how many sponsored ads do you see on Facebook? I know that you see it. So it works. People are looking at it. It's a great opportunity for you to get the word out about your event and your community. But then inside your church, and not just recruiting volunteers, but just getting your own families to sign up and register their kid for VBS. Listen, our church people are the worst. They wait till the last second to register. And I'm like, listen, are you coming or not? I got to make sure I got enough Oreos for all these kids. Okay. I need you to sign up. Okay. So I know that is difficult, but we start early, as early as January. We might put a save the date out through the bulletin just so people know the dates. We might put a display in the foyer, like a photo spot where we're like, get excited, VBS is coming. Here's the dates. Go ahead and put it in your calendar. Work your vacations around it. If you use a curriculum that has specific music we always put that music in our children's worship times early. We would start in March or April and introduce the new music to them and get them excited so that by the time VBS showed up, they already knew all the songs that we were going to use. So they got excited about that. If your church does t-shirts for VBS, hey, don't wait. Don't wait till the week of VBS. Get them out early. Put them out. We would give ours away to leaders that would come to trainings. They'd get their shirt early. So it already started the promotion and the excitement of Vacation Bible School early. You don't have to save it all for that week. Also, if you run out of shirts, then you have time to order more. So, but if you're doing those things and hey, these are the things we already do, how much can I back it up, and how much earlier can I start to get my church excited about it? And then that's when it's going to lead you into recruiting volunteers. So if you joined the meeting a little bit early, then you saw a video of me sort of giving some tips on how to recruit volunteers. And I've added one to that, and that is to be early, right? We want to start early with recruiting volunteers. Also, and this is part of the nailing down your dates. We always send an invite home the last day of VBS with next year's date on it. That starts because it is the most evangelistic event that our church does, it is the first thing on the calendar. We schedule it a year out so that we know that we have a year to tell people about it. Those visitors that they only come for VBS, well, they're going to leave with the note in their hand to know when next year's VBS is. That's how important it is to our church that we schedule it before anything else. VBS is on the calendar, and we can promote it from there. So you want to be early. People have to know they have vacations, they have family reunions, they have work, they have all sorts of things, and they say that they want to help. So let's remove every excuse, right? No, you knew a year ago when this was. So let's get those dates out there so they can work their schedules around it and be able to serve. We got to be enthusiastic, right? If you're not excited about Bible school, then nobody else is going to be. If it's a drag for you and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to get somebody to come watch these babies, well, they're certainly not going to want to do it. Or if it's like, listen, I know nobody wants 5th grade boys, but I need somebody to do it. Well, that does not sound very exciting. Okay. Even if it's true. Okay. Listen, we got to get excited. We got to share the vision with people so that in those classes that are hard to find the volunteers for, that they can see the bigger picture and they can get excited about the vision that's going to help get them through those harder classes. You got to be specific. If you just put an all call out in the bulletin that says we need VBS workers, nobody is gonna answer that ad because it doesn't mean anything. What does that mean? Now, it can get overwhelming to have job descriptions for everybody, but find out what people are good at. You might have some people that they love. Listen, y'all, you have seen the bougie birthday parties that people throw for their 2-year-old, and it's like the most amazing event that you've ever seen. And I'm like, I need that for VBS. Where is that? And they say, well, I don't want to teach. Good. I don't need you to teach. I need you to decorate these 4 classrooms. And that's all I need from you, because you're going to have people who are like, I just want to teach the Bible. I'm not really good at decorating a classroom, or I'm not really sure what to do. Great. I don't want you to decorate a classroom. I want you to study the Bible lesson, and you're going to teach that. And this team over here, they're going to decorate your room for you. You can divide that all out. We have a lady in our church. She is the hospitality queen. Okay. She throws every baby shower, every wedding shower. That's her job. That's what she does. So you know what she does during VBS is she runs the teacher break room. She has a spread laid out with all these snacks, and she recruits senior adults to bake things, and she has a spread so that all of our volunteers have an amazing break room that they get to go to during the day. They have a rotation, a time where they can come in and take a minute from the chaos, but they get snacks and a drink and a chance to visit with the other adults for about 10 to 15 minutes during the VBS, and then they go back to their classes. So it's a rotation that we have built in, but that that's her gift. And so we let her use it. Like, instead of saying, well, I don't know, I can't really use that for VBS. No, we found a way for her to use her gifts, and it's made our VBS amazing. And so that's what I was saying before, when it's like your volunteers are out there. You just have to find what they're good at and give that to them. So you've got crafts. Some people are like, I'm super crafty, but I'm scared to teach the Bible. Okay, great. You're going to be in charge of crafts. You can divide it out and give it to people based on their strengths. And then all of that works together for kids to hear about Jesus and for them to have a positive experience on your church campus or with your church people. Maybe your VBS doesn't happen at your church. Maybe you don't have a big enough facility. Maybe you're going to the neighborhood and you're having a backyard Bible club. You can use all these same things, even if it's off somewhere, even if it's on a different location. You can still have all those teams and be able to do all the same things that you would do, but take it off site. You've got to be available. People want to help, but they don't know what to do. They get overwhelmed. They're like, I've never taught this before. I'm not really sure what to do, which this goes back to starting early. If you've already chosen a curriculum, whether it's one you write yourself or whether it's one that you purchase, if you've got some of that laid out, you can give that to people ahead of time and you can help them. Hey, this is going to be the Bible lesson. Okay. Here's some questions you can ask. Here's some activities that you can do. Here's some training on how to share the gospel with people, with children, how to share the gospel with them. We're going to have one great thing that I love about our denomination is we have the National Southern Baptist Convention, and then we have state conventions, and then we even have associations that are a smaller group, but it's just our part of the state. So our Northwest Louisiana Baptist Association every year puts on a VBS training, just like this, just like what we're doing here. And you can come and get training. And sometimes we do it specific where it's not just for directors. It would be like, hey, if you are teaching first and second grade Bible time, I want you to come and I'm going to help you know what to do for your time. Now, it might be a one-on-one meeting. It might be a large church meeting where you say, hey, everyone who's interested, if you're not sure, but you need to serve, why don't you come to this meeting? I'm going to help you find your place. That might be the all-call way to do it, is say, hey, look, I'm going to order pizza. If you'll come, you'll leave with a job for VBS. We will find something for you to do so that you can be involved. And then you've got to be grateful. Like, these volunteers have to know that that they gave up their time, and you're a volunteer too. Like, that this is hard. They have a real job outside of this. They have families they're taking care of. They have all these other things. And so for them to set aside that time to work hard, to prepare, to tell kids about Jesus, we want to be grateful for that. It might be a gift at the end of the week. Like I said, we have a great teacher break room. That is one of the biggest things that we do. Our church, we are always so blessed to be able to do a t-shirt that matches our theme for VBS. We give that to those volunteers. Thank you for coming. Like, here's a t-shirt, here's two so you can wear one every day or whatever we need to do. You just want those volunteers to know that you're grateful for the work that they have put in. And it really goes a long way to get them to come back next year. And also, they're your greatest recruiters. Like, you only know your small circle of influence. That's the only people you know. But if you have 12 volunteers, they each have more spheres of influence than you do. So if that one person had a good time, maybe next year they can recruit 2 more people. I would always do that. If I had somebody that said, hey, I'll do it. I'll teach 3rd grade Bible school. Okay, great. I need you to go find 2 other people that'll work it with you. Because I don't have time. I can't recruit all those people. But if you find this person who's already in, and then you say, okay, your job is to go find 2 more people that are going to help you. Let them do the recruiting for you. It doesn't all have to be on you. You get that core team of people, and then encourage them, equip them, give them authority and ownership so that they can go out and help recruit other than that. And then the last thing, so we've prepared it, we've promoted it, and now we're going to pursue. And what that means is that you have to have a follow-up plan. You have all these families that are coming in that are new to your church, maybe new to church in general. If you wait until the last day of VBS to say, okay, now what? You're going to be exhausted. You're not going to want to make phone calls and check on those people. You're not going to want to write note cards and tell them thank you for coming. You're going to be exhausted. You have to have a follow-up plan ahead of time. That is another way that you recruit. You give that to someone else, somebody that says, hey, listen, I don't want to be in a classroom with a bunch of bad kids. I can't do it. Okay, well, you know what I need you to do? I'm going to need you after VBS to call some of these families or write these questions or write them notes. Tell them thank you for coming. You've got to have a team and a plan beforehand. You can't wait until after because like I said, you're going to run out of time. You're going to be exhausted. It's just going to fall by the wayside. And then you'll have all of this information on prospects for your church, and it's just going to be wasted. You want to be able to connect those people to other ministries in your church. I don't know how your church might divide up ministries. For us at our church, children's ministry ends at 5th grade, and then they go into like the student ministry or youth ministry at 6th grade. So every 5th grader that comes into our VBS, I get all that information and I give it directly to the youth minister. And I say, guess what? Here you go. I've got 12 brand new kids for you that are going to be starting the 6th grade. And this is the first time they've ever come to our church. They have no connection. Here, I need you to reach out to them because they're done with me in children's ministry. Like it's summertime, they're moving on. So I connect them with the youth minister. I've got families that they marked, they don't go to church but they want to know more. Okay, I go find a Sunday school teacher that matches that stage of life. And I give that to them and I say, hey, can you call these people and invite them? Tell them, hey, I'm a Sunday school teacher. I'd love for you to come to my class. Like push out the follow-up to other people. It cannot all be on you. Only do what only you can do. There are jobs that you're going to have as the director that you're the only one that can make that decision. You are in charge of the budget, right? You choose the date. You choose the curriculum. There are certain things that only you get to do because you're the director. But there are lots of other things with VBS that you can give away that other people can do. Only do what only you can do, if that makes sense. Because it just needs to be, because if you hang on to all of it, you're going to get burnt out and overwhelmed, and then none of it is going to be done well. So figure out the things that have to be done by you as the director, and then start giving those other things away. That's our job as ministers, is to equip the saints. And if you're doing all the work, you're stealing blessings from people. If you're doing it all, you're not equipping the saints. You're putting a lid on how much that ministry can do, because you're only one person. You have your gifts, you have your skill set. That's all you've got. So if you hang on to all of it, it can only be your personality and your skill set. But when you begin to give it away to other people in your church, now look, it's hard. Listen, you can't care how they do it. And that's hard when it's like, but I want you to do it how I would do it. Well, you're only one person. So you have to find the things and say, okay, I've given you here's the box I need you to stay in, but then I need you to take it and take ownership of it. And some of that we have to let go of. And so as we're recruiting those volunteers, as we're following up and pursuing people after, we want VBS to last all year long, right? We want to connect those families to our church. We want kids to be growing in their faith. We want discipleship to happen. We want those kids to turn around when they start school in the fall and be able to share their faith and tell the kids in their class about Jesus. That's what we want to see. VBS lasts all year long if we're doing these things right. If we're preparing and promoting and pursuing, then we can make VBS be much, much more than just 4 or 5 days in the summer. So I hope that you guys have a great VBS. I hope that you're encouraged this morning. I don't want you to feel beat up or like, oh, I'm behind. We can't do it. No, you can. You can do it. The Lord, He's gone before you. He knows. He's got it all prepared and set out. We just need to find where He's working and join Him there. So I know that you guys are going to have great, great ministry this summer. I know that I have talked a lot. My goodness, I have a lot of words this morning, but I love VBS, so I could talk about it forever and ever. So I don't know if anyone has any questions, specifically, or I'd also just love Brother Fred he can give you my contact information if you just want to reach out and you just want to talk to somebody, and somebody who's been there, and I would love to be able to encourage you and help you as you plan. So I'm going to turn it back over to Brother Fred now, and we'll wrap up our time together.
Thank you so much. An amazing presentation. Let me pause. There was a lot that was said, and I bubbled some things into the chat, just some little takeaways here, takeaway there. But if you have questions, if you have something you want to share, go down to the Q&A section and feel free to ask those questions. Stacy is amazing. Let me just tell you how the Lord worked this out. So I was looking for training by someone who really knew what they were talking about, who had been in the trenches, who had done the work before, and had been successful with it, was open to just many different avenues of just taking VBS and really understood the concept. And when I was doing that research, I was online and Stacy's video popped up where I was searching, and I watched that video 3 or 4 times, and then I went back and tried to find other videos, and I found other videos, and I was like, this is the person. Now, how do I find her? How do I get this person and then be able to reach out to them and say, hey, I need you, and you don't even know who I am? And the Lord worked it out where social media, I searched her on social media, took some time, took the risk of inboxing her, and the history has been made. Um, she immediately responded, and we went back and forth and exchanged contact information. And Cochusa, we have been blessed to have her to be here with us on today. My prayer is that what she has poured into us today might be used in every one of our communities. We have people on here from Mississippi, from Atlanta, from Chicago, to New York. I see East Coast, West Coast. I see South Carolina. There are people all over who are represented on here. And so I pray that every one of your communities are transformed because you have taken some tools, put them in place, given them a shot, and you have made a difference in more than one, but at least one. May that one transform his or her generation. And at the end of the day, we are called to make a difference in the life of our community. I will end by this because I don't see any chats coming up. I was reading in my devotional this morning. I was reading in my devotion from Leviticus, and I believe it's Leviticus 2. And God was telling Moses, he said, my people, I am a holy God, and I'm basically calling my people to be a holy people. And I began to meditate on that very early this morning, and I wrote in my notes, that the same God that called the men of old and the women of old to be holy, separated unto him, is the same God who calls us today. I know society has changed. I know culture has changed. I know the world has changed, but God has not. And his call on the life of the believer has still remained the same. And I want to say to us, we are still called to make a difference. We're still called to share Jesus. We're still called to love people and to demonstrate who Christ is and what he has done and what he wants to do in the life of this world. We're still called to that. Times have changed, but our Jesus has not. And so, thank you so much, Stacy. Again, thank you for being here with us today. Give your husband, who I've never met, our best and tell him thank you for allowing you to take away some of his Saturday time with you to be with us and your beautiful children. Thank you all so much. We definitely appreciate you. Thank you, Kachusa, for being with us on this morning. Look forward to hearing back from you and hearing all of the great things. If I don't see you um, in the next couple of days or hear from you, may the Lord be with you and the Lord take care of you and blessings upon your vacation Bible school as you take it up. Amen. God bless you. Have a great, great Saturday. Take care.